Hey guys, it's your coach Dave here, and I wanted to come out and make this quick video to talk to you guys about how I was able to build a full-time income as a Beachbody coach, and the sacrifices I needed to make, and how I'm still able to work full-time right now and still be able to work Beachbody, which is pretty much, I would say, almost another full-time job, and exactly how I did it and what I had to sacrifice and what I had to do to get there. Because I think there's so many coaches out there. I get asked all the time, like, how did you build your business to where it's at? How did you build your income to where it is? How did you guys get, as many of you guys know my story, we were able to retire my wife Kristen from her six-figure teaching income about 2 years ago, and she's been home. We have 3 little girls, so she's been home as a full-time coach, and we also work together as a team. But it always wasn't like that early on when I first started this. But let me kind of go back to what I was doing when I started as a coach, but even more so what I'm doing now that I'm still working full time. But I think I have to really paint the picture, and I think a lot of people, maybe this can help you in what I did. So I became a coach. I could tell you that I became a coach in late 2010. It was pretty much 2011, and I first became a coach just for the discount. I loved my Shakeology. I loved the programs. I loved the products, and at the time it was just to maybe make a little bit of extra income. But once 2013 hit, for me, after going to Coach Summit, I realized the opportunity that was in front of me, and I realized, like, wow, this really can help, Kristen and I pay off at the time $100,000 in debt that we had. But I really had to make a decision that I was going to go all in with this business. So I wanted to share with you guys kind of what I did and what I need to do to make it work. But just so you guys are aware, because this is important for people to hear, is that my coach quit early on. My coach was another person I worked with within the state police. And he was basically placed, for some of you guys that understand the Beachbody business, was placed on the inside leg of his coach. So the fact that I was also on the inside leg of my coach that quit, I was basically on this island, and I was never going to have any help of building my team or my downline per se. So the first thing I had to realize is that I had to take 100% ownership of this business. And I had to realize I didn't have my coach to teach me what to do. I didn't have my coach to give me coach trainings. I didn't have my coach to have team calls. I didn't have my coach at the time to help me with challenge groups, which really didn't even exist back then. So the first piece of advice I had to realize is that I had to be able to figure everything out for myself. Like, I had to make the sacrifices and realize that nobody was going to show me how to run a challenge group. Nobody was going to show me what coach training I needed to do. If I wanted to, for it to happen, I had to make the sacrifice and figure it out. So early on, guys, I could tell you, when I first started really actively working the business, I spent a ridiculous amount of time Googling stuff. I spent a ridiculous amount of time on YouTube, as many of you guys are probably watching this video, and I literally did not wait around for the success or the answers to come to me. I was very, very intentional every single day to find out the answer if I couldn't figure it out. And at the same time, when I wanted to build my team, my goal was to never have my team go through what I went through, meaning to feel like I was left by myself having to figure it out. So I myself created trainings for Team Perseverance. I basically literally thought of the most basic things. What does every coach need to know? I remember having like 70 pieces of paper, because I put every training that I thought I should do a video on. I wrote down the topic on a piece of paper, and I laid it out on the floor, and I literally had like 70 pieces of loose leaf paper all out, and then I put them in chronological order, and then I wanted to get it to like 30 days, and I combined certain days, and I removed some days. And the thing I want to share, the thing I want you to understand with that is, guys, I took hours of time and work just to figure out what I need to give to my team. And I did that because I was intentional about it. Like, you know, John Maxwell says the law of intentionality says if you want to be successful, you have to be intentional about it every single day. So I finally became intentional where I wanted my team or my coaches, which at the time, guys, I just made Diamond. I had a small team of 50 people, but I didn't want them to go through what I went through. So I wanted to figure it out with the coach trainings. I also used to didn't know how to run a challenge group. So I started with our team running the challenge groups with other coaches so I can also teach them how to do it. But the key was, guys, it never was perfect. I never knew exactly how to do it, but the point was I did it. And I made a lot of mistakes and I didn't wait, and I did tons of searches on how to figure it out, but I took ownership with my business. So like my daily agenda, and I want you guys to kind of hear this, what I do every single day, and I still do today. Back when I started going all in 2013, our alarm went off pretty much every day before 5 o'clock in the morning. Today, it still goes off 4:50 in the morning. And we get up because I realized that if you want to be successful in this business, and I've learned, you have to be a product of the product. You cannot start and stop your journey doing a Beachbody workout program. And you can't fool yourself to think that you could be successful in this business and be working out doing something else. Like, you may be a runner, because I'm a runner. Like, I ran New York City Marathon twice and I still enjoy running, but every single day, 6 days a week, I was getting up and I'm doing my Beachbody workout program, and that has not stopped. I'm going to be honest, from like 2011 to now, it's 2017, currently in the middle of doing Body Beast. I commit to doing my workouts every single day. So like the first sacrifice that Kristen and I had to make early on was that we had to get our workouts in the morning. Like, and the sacrifice we made was sleep. And the sacrifice we made was realizing we're going to be tired getting up, because having 3 little kids, and to give you an idea, my girls now are 12, 9, and 5. So if we go back, 5 years ago, my daughters were 7, 4, and a 1-year-old. We had a 1, 4, and 7-year-old when we really started. So like, for me, it was easy to make the kids to be an excuse, but they became our reason. And we knew that we had to get our workouts in the morning because Kristen and I both worked full time. I know today Kristen's home as a full-time coach, but back then we both worked full time. And we knew that when we get home from work later during the day, that dinner time and bath time for the kids and clean up from dinner and homework time, it's like what we call the witching hours. It's crazy. And by the time 8:30, 9 o'clock hits, we're exhausted. So there was no way we were getting our workouts done then. And I just found that we also feel better with our workouts in the morning with the fact that our stomachs were empty, we're not going to cramp up. So the point I'm trying to make there was, guys, every single day we did our workouts in the morning. But when we first got up, I'm the type of person that I need about 20 minutes to get myself together. So during that 20 minutes, I was answering messages in my Facebook, I was checking in with my challenge group, and I was putting in a good 20 to 30 minutes right out of the gate. When I get up in the morning, I was drinking my pre-workout drink. At the time, I think it was Energy and Endurance Formula. Today, it's Energize. And if before that, I remember drinking some other stuff that wasn't Beachbody because they didn't have a Beachbody pre-workout drink. But while I was waiting for it to kick in and I was trying to get myself up, I would literally sit and I would do work. And I would check in with my challengers, and I would answer some messages. And I would do that. And then I would do my workout, and then after my workout, I'd make sure I posted on social media. I always, till this day, are sharing my journey. Now, it doesn't matter like where you are in your journey. You may just be starting your journey. You may be somebody that already has a 6-pack. It doesn't matter. You are always on a journey. We are always struggling. We're human beings, and I shared what I was doing every single day. And this was important, guys, because I wanted people to know that I was who I said I was. Like, I was doing what I was sharing. Like, I literally was being true to who I said I was by doing the actions and not just saying the words. So every single day, did the workouts. Now, guys, I would go to work during the day. And maybe during lunch when I'm eating my meal, and at the time in 2011, I was an investigator. I wasn't a lieutenant, had an investigator in the state police as our detective, so I had a lot of cases going on. But maybe when I was eating lunch I would quickly maybe answer some quick messages if I had time. But business was always on my mind. And the agreement, though, after that was when I came home, And in the beginning, it wasn't always like this. When I came home, and I'm going to share why, that was a time for family time. Kristen and I put our phones down, and in fact, we ate dinner with our kids as a family, which is still important to us every day. We took care of the kids, and we did the homework, and then we got our kids to bed. Now, I want to tell you, early on, guys, when I first started working this business, I didn't have support from Kristen. And that's like another video, you know, the lack of spouse support, which is another video on my YouTube channel, is the lack of spouse support. But I could tell you the quick clip with that, guys, is I had to show my wife that I was serious about what I thought Beachbody could do for us, because in the beginning I was the only one working out. She really wasn't working out because she just had Addison at the time, and even before she had Addison, when I was working out, she was pregnant, so I was doing my P90X by myself. But I had the vision before I got there, if that makes sense. Like, I had the vision of this was going to turn into something that can change my family's life, and I had it before I got there, and I told Kristen it was going to work. And I admit, we butted heads in the beginning because I was always on the phone when I got home from work, because I wanted to work the business, and we had to come up. Cool, thank you. Sadie's telling me about Rangers scored in a to tie the game up. It's in the playoffs right now. But I made sure in the beginning, like, I constantly wanted to work the business whenever I had free time, so I would come home and work in it all the time. But then Kristen and I had to have an agreement. We had to have our family time up until dinner, into after our kids went to bed. Now, what did I do after our kids went to bed? Another sacrifice I made, guys. No TV. Like, TV does not exist and still doesn't exist today, because I still work full time and I need to find time to work the business. So for me, it was right after my kids went to bed, and still is now, 8 o'clock, 8:30, even though I was tired and I'd love to maybe watch some sports, you know, being a big baseball fan, being a Met fan, as much as I want to do that, I worked every single day, and still do now, from either at minimum 8:30 to probably 10:30 at night, and many nights it goes to 11:30. Some nights I pushed midnight, but I knew that I wanted to get, you know, I wanted to get at least 5 hours sleep. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not condoning that you should sacrifice sleep, because sleep is important. But when we were truly in build mode, and I can tell you right now we're in build mode again, I was sacrificing sleep because I realized I had to be willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. Like, I realized that success never goes on sale. It never goes on discount. I had to make sacrifices. I still work full time. I don't have the luxury, and still don't do now, to really work this business during the day. You know, so for me, at nighttime, I'm putting in a solid 3 hours a night. And at some nights, it's 4 hours a night. And that's on top of the half hour I did in the morning. And also if I had a couple minutes during work. Also, when it came to my personal development and on a growth journey, I didn't do it in the beginning. I thought I didn't need it. I thought I was a male and a dude, and I was in law enforcement. I didn't need it, and my business went nowhere. So now I'm 100% intentional every single day to find the time to constantly be reading or listening to books. For me, my favorite author is John Maxwell. So how did I find the time? To and from work, I didn't listen to the radio. I was listening to audiobooks, okay? When I'm always the one, Kristen's the cook in our family, so whenever I was cleaning up and cleaning dishes for the half hour, 40 minutes, I was listening to audiobooks with headphones on. I still do that today, constantly listening to audio. And then many times, guys, sometimes when I would get into bed, I would read a book before I went to bed. And on the weekends, I would be reading, and I would make the sacrifices to commit. So early on, and even now, because maybe I don't have time to sit down as much and read, I found the hidden minutes when I was traveling in the car. I found the hidden minutes when I was cleaning the dishes to commit to personal development every single day. So if you notice, the pattern, guys, is that I was intentional every day. I made the sacrifices of sleep. I made the sacrifices of TV. I made the sacrifices of getting up every morning and and being a product of the product and doing my workouts. And I also made sure every single day I was drinking Shakeology every single day. Now, the point, something I always say and I always share with my team, is that if you want this to turn into something that can create a full-time income, or maybe bring you home from your job or get your spouse home, you have to treat it as if it is your full-time job already. Like, you are almost answering to a boss or you're answering to somebody. And the reason I say that is because what I see so often happen with people is that they start and stop and they start and stop this business. When life gets in the way, they stop. When vacations happen, they stop. When summer happens, they stop. But if you had a job in the summer, you still show up. If you have a vacation and you have to be back to work on Monday, you still show up. So for me, when I'm on vacation, I'm still plugging in with my challenge groups. I'm still doing my personal development. I'm still doing my workouts in a hotel room, wherever it is, and I'm sharing my journey because I'm being a product of the product every single day. And I think one of the things that people realize is you start and you stop and you start and stop, and then people that are maybe watching you see that you truly aren't who you say you are based on your actions because you disappear. So I'm consistent with this business every single day. Another thing, guys, is that I made the sacrifices to maybe miss certain things that had to do with maybe family events so that I, in fact, can attend every single, this is my Lab Harbor, he's my 1-year-old buddy, so I can, in fact, attend every single, all right, bud, okay, all right, you gotta sit down, you can't climb up on me, off. So I can attend every single Beachbody event. So I never ever miss Super Saturdays. I even kept myself accountable that I started doing Super Saturdays in the local library in my town. I didn't care that it was gonna start with like 10 people or 5 people or 2 people. I just started, and it's grown now into our market council that we have a few hundred people at each event. One of our events, we had Joel and Jericho here from Core to Force, and we had, over 1,000 people. So I made sure that I didn't let the excuses of, oh, my kid has a sport game or has soccer, so I can't, this guy just wants to be on top of you. So I can, in fact, get to my Super Saturday event, because I think people realize my reasons to build this business are so I can have more time with my kids and do things that I never could have ever imagined. And I realize that I may have to make the sacrifices now to get to Beachbody events, to be plugged into everything going on, so that later on I can have that extra time and be home and be my own boss, or right now, Kristen home to be with our girls and have more opportunities than ever because I use my kids as my why instead of my excuse. And I think so often people use their kids as their excuse of why I can't work out, or use their kids as their excuse of why they can't attend Coach Summit, or why they can't attend, Super Saturdays, because they let things get in the way. I book those events like they're doctor's appointments that I can't miss. Right? So I was very intentional about treating this like a business and treating it as if it was my full-time job. If your job said you had to work this Saturday, and many people work on weekends, you would be there, and you may end up missing a birthday party or two, but you do that because it's your job. So I knew I was treating this like I was the CEO of $1 million business, which this, in fact, I truly believe is. So you really have to be consistent about it every single day, and you have to make all the events, and you have to make sacrifices. So now, when we started making those sacrifices, guys, we were able to finally, this guy is just right on top of me. All right, buddy. We were able to finally retire Kristen 2 years ago from her job. So the thing I have to tell you guys is that if you want to get there, you need to take 100% ownership. You can't rely, it's not your upline's responsibility, it's not your coach's responsibility, it's not your team's responsibility, or if you don't have a team, it's nobody else's responsibility to build this business but yourself, okay? And you're going to have to make sacrifices. So for me, it was sleep. For me, it was TV. For me, it was intramural sports. That was another thing I didn't mention. I played in softball leagues, and I think too often people think that their intramural sports as adults is as if they're playing Division I, and I realized I had to cut that. I realized that I had to miss things on the weekends, and I realized that I had to continue to do this going forward. Now, guys, today I still work full-time, and I want to have the option when I hit 20 years with the state police to retire if I want to, in fact, do that. Right now, Kristen's home, and it's changed our life, and our stress is much better, and it's down. But every single day, I still work out. I still do my personal development. I still drink my shake. I'm still checking in with my challenge group, and I'm doing all the other things that need to be done. Right now, I probably have had over 200 team calls that I have run every single Monday for the past 5 years. So like, I make sure I'm there for my team every single day. And on the flip side, if you're somebody that only has a couple coaches under you, well, then you start team calls. And the story I think of, guys, is back when I started team calls. Let me share this with you. I would announce our team call to my small little team with only a couple of people, and I had a little small Facebook page, and I would get on the team call and I would record it on a service back then called freeconferencecalling.com. And I would record the call and I would do a training topic that I probably didn't know, I wasn't an expert about, but I would do it and nobody would be on the call. And I would see it because I would know nobody would dial in, and I literally would then post about it and share to our small team page. It was the best call ever and everybody needs to listen to the recording. And this went on for weeks where I would call in, nobody would be on, and I would record myself by myself. But the key is, guys, I had the vision before I got there that this business was going to change my family's life. And I knew I was just going to keep showing up every single day. And I was going to keep being intentional about it. And I was going to keep working out. And I was going to make every Beachbody event. And I wasn't going to make excuses. And I embraced myself, and I became a sponge where I would YouTube things. I would find other team calls. I would get on other team calls. I would find other top coaches. Who are elite coaches, that were in my back office. I would figure out the coach online office. I would find other elite coaches, this is before I made elite. I'd find other coaches that were top coaches. I'd follow what they did. I would create my own stuff, and I became a sponge, and I was intentional about it, and I made sacrifices. So guys, at the end of this, I want you to realize that if I can do this as a dad of 3 little kids that is greatly involved in their activities, greatly involved in their sports, greatly involved with being a dad, and I can do this while still working full time, and my wife and I creating a 6-figure income and have the ability to bring her home, and now trying to create a business to be a 7-figure income. If we can do this, you can do this. But you and you alone have to make the sacrifices, and you have to figure out what they are. And if you realize what they are and you're willing to make the sacrifices, this business will change your life. But you have to be consistent. This is the thing that doesn't happen overnight. You have to be patient, right? I told you I became a coach pretty much late 2010, 2011. So I've been a coach for 6 years, right? And I still to this day show up every single day. So guys, if this video was of value to you, please like the video, share it with somebody you think that maybe needs to hear this message, or share the YouTube link to anybody or your team that may help them, because I want you guys to truly know what it takes to get there and what you need to do each and every day to get there, and realize that you can do this. Because if I can do this where I was with no help, and it finally said that's it and did it, you can do it too. So guys, hope this video was helpful to you guys. Have a great day. Share it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.